Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos, he's Forrest Lee. And as we start a Thursday, and we got a call coming in right here from, where are you calling from, please, sir?
Grayton Beach, Florida.
Grayton Beach, Florida. You just missed the cutoff on the Zoom television. But we'll be listening, hearing from Mike Amos from Grayton Beach this morning. Of course, Forrest Lee has joined us, so we're all excited about another great day in America and a great day to talk sports, especially Southeastern Conference and Sun Belt Conference football. Forrest Lee, what do you know, man? What do you know?
Did you hear the news? An amazing thing just happened. Like yesterday.
Is it going to be good? Is it going to be good?
Well, no. Hoover High School was supposed to play Dauphin, the Dauphin Wolves, or whatever their name are.
Yeah.
And Smitty Grider's their head coach. So Dauphin has several guys get the coronavirus, and that game gets canceled. So at the last minute, Hoover is now traveling to Central of Phoenix City.
Oh, boy.
Patrick Nix, his first game ever as the head coach. And this game, they have 3 days to get ready for Hoover, and Hoover has 3 days to get ready for Central Phoenix City. I read that article yesterday. That's one of the best football stories I've heard in a long time.
Where will that game be played?
It's going to be played in Phoenix City. They're only going to allow 2,000 fans, according to the great Randy Wilkes, my old high school coach.
Yeah, of course, he's superintendent of education for either the city of Phoenix City or Russell County. I'm not sure exactly which.
He's Phoenix City. He's over Central.
Is that tomorrow night or Saturday night?
That's going to be on Friday night, I believe.
Friday night, yeah, exactly right. Of course, that's a big game, of course, between two great programs, and we're excited about it. Of course, Forrest Lee is our guest this morning, and he'll be talking to us a lot about what's going on in our schools. Troy City schools are expected to open their doors.
They're supposed to open up Monday.
Monday, big day for these kids. They've been out a long time, and a lot of vacation. I was down at the beach for the early part of the week, and I asked some people, I said, you mean y'all haven't started school? And almost every one of them said, oh, we homeschool.
Right.
Oh, I can hear it right now. Honey, wake up. It's time for homeschool. It's 10 o'clock. Wake up. And, you're going to need to eat your cereal first. And you can't watch that cartoon yet, but maybe after our school.
We got a neighbor who did that with her son last year, and most of the day the guy was out there shooting basketball.
That's what I'm saying. And this afternoon, no golf this afternoon. We're going to go shopping this afternoon, but we will go by the park, and we will go by the library and talk about the historic significance of those buildings.
Right.
I'm being facetious, but that's what a lot of those homeschoolers, some of them will get real training, and some of them just have a big day.
Well, I went by the elementary school Monday, and I brought some Coca-Colas and peanuts and some goodies to the sixth grade teachers who I've been around most of the time, and just about half of those kids in the sixth grade are going virtual, or at least a third.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the final numbers are.
Don't you explain to the folks out there what virtual is?
Virtual is where you do it online.
Yeah.
And there's a new term out there called Schoology, and I don't know much about it, but all the teachers are in training about Schoology. That's where the online students and the parents learn how to do the task at hand, the objective, the school objective, the learning objective of that particular school day or school week.
Yeah, right. All right, Mike, today is the, and we've already mentioned this is the 20th day. Is that right? The 19th or 20th day?
It's 20.
20.
Yeah, I keep on reading articles on TroyTrojans.com how they're getting ready for their game on September the 5th. Only problem is they don't have a game on September the 5th that anybody actually knows about.
That's right.
Apparently the coaches and the players know who they're playing September the 5th, but none of this has been released yet. This is one of the more stranger situations I've ever seen, that a school is going to wait this long to announce out to see their play on September the 5th. I'm hearing rumors now that La Monroe is going to be moved to September the 5th due to their cancellation of their first game. And then they're going to try to find a game in October to fill the date they were going to play La Monroe at home.
Okay, that sounds right. That sounds about right. I knew they changed it.
Middle Tennessee State, if you go on GoRaider.com or BlueRaider.com, has 2 games against Troy listed on their schedule. Troy's has no games listed against Middle Tennessee State on their schedule.
Yeah.
Their first game, if you look at it, is against BYU on the 26th. So Brent Jones and Sports Information Director and anybody in that athletic department today, please release the schedule.
Go to Sun Belt Conference football schedule or Troy University football schedule. That'll be it. Troy University football schedule. I believe you're going to see that Middle Tennessee is on this schedule, Mike. You're fixing to find out right now.
How about TroyTrojans.com, where everybody goes to look at Troy?
No, this is Troy University football schedule. That's better than that, isn't it?
Well, TroyTrojans.com is Troy's actual website for football.
Yeah, okay.
Athletics.
All right, Forrest, have you found it?
I have, and it's.
All right, see if it's got Middle Tennessee on it up close.
It says Troy at Middle Tennessee the 19th of September. Let me do that again.
That's right.
Let me make sure. And then it says Middle Tennessee comes to Troy on the 11th. On 21st, on October the 21st.
On October 21st, it's listed right there, Mike.
Here's what I have. It says.
I know, but it's on TroyTrojans.com. I mean, that would be the one that would put it on first.
No, I would think
everything.
I would think it would be Troy University's football schedule.
Well, let's see. All right, 2020 football schedule. This is TroyTrojans.com sports. All right, it does not show it. But on the other one I was on,
it's got an actual countdown to when they play BYU. How many days, how many hours until you play BYU?
Yeah, okay.
That's what it says, September 26th.
Don't you think that's really strange?
Well, it does say what now?
It says Utah. It says we're playing
that's right.
BYU.
Yeah,
but on the other one, I don't know what website that was. It did show Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, in fact, if you and then now go to the Sun Belt Conference football schedule. Go to the Sun Belt Conference football schedule.
This crazy announcement by the NCAA yesterday. So every single freshman player that is eligible to play this season, so that means all of these recruits, these new guys coming in, that this season's not going to count towards their eligibility. So that means that they could play their freshman year this year and turn around and play as a freshman again next year.
That would be unreal.
I mean, can you imagine getting this kind of experience this year?
Is that a done deal? Tell us.
This came out yesterday. The NCAA Division I Council has recommended several eligibility adjustments for athletes in football and other fall sports whose seasons have been or still might be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to an announcement by the NCAA late Wednesday, a Division I Council recommended that fall sports athletes get an additional year of eligibility and an additional year in which to compete their eligibility. Neither of which will count against their roster limits for 2021 or 2022. In order to take effect, the changes must be approved by the NCAA Board of Governors when it meets later this week. So that means these guys could actually play this season and it would not count against their year. They could actually play a full year. They could be considered a freshman again next year.
Yeah, it sure could. Well, that's big news.
How crazy is that? That's like a coach's dream.
That is big news, no question about it.
Usually they get the 4 games to play people in before you redshirt. Now you can play every single one of these guys.
Yeah. Again, the SEC does not start football as far as a game. I reckon they even reported to practice. They already started counting their practice days.
Oh, if you want to watch Alabama film, I got fired up. I was able to watch about 8 or 9 minutes.
I know it, but they still have a certain amount of days that they can actually practice, though, isn't it? Isn't that right?
Oh, I mean, they officially started on Monday, so they're good. Yeah, they're practicing now.
I didn't see, there was no update on the Sun Belt Conference football schedule.
It was.
It was like
it didn't show Middle Tennessee.
The last time it was updated on August the 4th.
Yeah, okay. But that remains to be seen. I feel confident though that they will be playing Middle Tennessee, and
I feel like it's going to happen because the athletic director from Middle Tennessee wouldn't have come out and had a full-length article on AL.com about it if it wasn't going to happen.
And I'm thinking Troy might be the only school in the nation. That Troy and Middle Tennessee are the only two schools in the nation that are playing each other twice. I think. I haven't.
It made national headlines on ESPN.
Which is good for Troy, and of course it's good for Middle Tennessee, especially early in the year. They get that game in, before the roof falls in. Hopefully the roof won't fall in.
I don't like having to go up against Tony Franklin twice.
Tony Franklin. I tell you one thing. When I see him, I'm gonna bring a razor blade. I'm gonna shave his beard and his hair.
He look like a woolly bully.
Oh,
old Mr. Ho's restaurant. That was his favorite place.
Well, in fact, they might come up with a Tony Franklin hairdo. Tony, you're probably watching this morning from Murfreesboro, and I tell you something about you. You're a good fella, and I knew Tony Franklin, and he had those sweet girls, and they said all he does is work. And I remember when he was at Troy, he had his own office in the press box. Only coach that had his office in the press box, and he'd be up there working all day, and the others would be in the Tyne Davis Fieldhouse.
He probably didn't want any distractions.
Yeah. But he hiring Tony Franklin was a big thing, Mike, if you'll think about it.
It definitely changed Blayton's career.
Here's what I'm.
Troy finally had an offense.
Here's something that's very interesting, Mike. You probably have already seen it, but the number one quarterback overall, the number 5th prospect overall for 2023 is Arch Manning.
Arch Manning, not Archie, but Arch.
6'3", 190. He plays for Isidore Newman High School out of New Orleans. Last year as a freshman, he threw for over 2,400 yards. 34 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. Everybody in the country has already made an offer for it.
Archie Manning. They've also started written a song. Arch Manning, brave, courageous, and bold. They're singing that in elementary schools over there.
I'm going to say he goes to Ole Miss.
That's Cooper's son.
That's Cooper. Oh, that's Cooper's son. Yeah.
Cooper's son.
I bet he's got red hair too.
I think it's blonde. I think I saw a picture of him. He's blonde.
They always said that Cooper was the greatest athlete of them all, but he got injured.
Yeah, and
that's what they always said. As far as being an athlete, he played wide receiver before he got hurt at Ole Miss.
That's right. Great guy. Another young man, Mike, that's got Troy flavor is a wide receiver at Ole Miss, and they say he's really quite a player, and that's Abner White's son, and of course Abner's grandmama lives right here on the corner of Murphy Street and Pine.
And his grandmother's his actual mother, isn't it?
No, that's grandmother. Wiley's his grandma. Yeah.
You're talking about the kid that actually plays.
Yeah, the kid that plays at Ole Miss. He's from Guff Breeze.
Her son that started the chicken finger place.
Yeah, not Guff Breeze. He's from what's that big school there?
From Niceville.
Niceville. That's where he's from. Niceville High School.
Have you ever driven by Niceville High School?
Looks like a college, doesn't it? Looks like a college. Yeah, I know it.
They say as far as a high school in Florida, they say it's one of the nicest and some of the best teachers you can have down here. They said the education down there is unbelievable.
Eglin Field makes that happen.
Hey, Mike, what about high school football in Florida? How's that standing right now?
They're going to play. I think they got delayed a week. I think they're going to start next week. So they're practicing. Yeah, I've been watching the highlights.
All right,
Georgia's full speed.
Now tell me when.
The problem we're dealing with in Florida right now is looks like possible 2 hurricanes are going to hit next week in Florida.
Oh boy.
I think it's going to be in the Gulf of Mexico for sure. So they're already, I was watching that on the Weather Channel this morning. Jim Cantori was on talking about could be 2 possible storms hitting Florida next week.
Yeah.
Have y'all talked about the top 10 released? ESPN, CBS Sports has the top 10 projected teams for this year.
Okay, we'll hear them.
Of
Go
course,
ahead.
Clemson's at the top. Alabama's 2, Oklahoma's 3, Georgia's 4, Florida 5, LSU 6, Notre Dame is 7, Auburn is 8, Texas A&M is 9, Oklahoma State is 10, 16 is Tennessee, and number 21 is Kentucky, with Appalachian State at 25.
Appalachian State at 25.
Really likes Auburn because a lot of teams don't have Auburn in the top 10.
Yeah, that's CBS. I'm sorry, that was CBS.
But that's great. That's good to hear. And of course,
who knows?
When does the high schools here actually officially start football?
This Friday.
I mean,
tomorrow night.
Friday, yeah.
Tomorrow night is high school football.
It is.
But we'll have to predict a few games then on our show tomorrow, and we could fit it in today if we knew who those were. But of course, high school football officially with real games. So far, it has not been any real games played. The Pike game was just a jamboree type game. So
I mean, Marbury, I guess for Charles Henderson, is just going to be an exhibition game or
well,
jamboree. Is that right?
Why would that be?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what Steve said when he talked about it the other day.
Are we going to send cameras up there? I don't know if we are or not, but
I doubt you would.
if it's not a,
They're going to be at the Eufaula Carroll game this Friday night.
okay, you
TV2.
follow. They'll be
I believe that's right.
That'll be a real
Well,
good game as far as played at Matthews Stadium in Ozark. So I know that my good buddies down there are getting excited about the coming football season as Carroll High of Ozark hosts the Eufaula Tigers in the first official game of the year in high school football. And a lot is going to be found. A lot of information is going to come from this, Mike. I know this is not the college level, but even at the high school level, we'll see how it copes with the virus and how high schools will react to that to COVID-19.
Yeah, it looks like Clemson's going to have a tough home opener. They're going to play Citadel to start the season.
Okay, now Citadel, Mike. Let me just find out. Find out how much football you know. When did the Citadel shine its brightest star in a season opener? Do you know where that was and when it was?
Well, I was born in '76. I'm thinking it was before then.
No. Well, let me just say this. They opened the season at Arkansas, and they beat Arkansas, and the football coach lost his job on the first game.
Yeah, they beat Jack Crow, and he lost his job.
All right, here's what I've got. Some team.
How about the Citadel beat South Carolina?
That's right. They'll beat you, baby blue and white. Baby blue and white, Mike.
Here's what I have. There are some football games that are playing tonight, but not in this area.
Okay.
But according to this, as of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, this are games that are correct as of August the 14th.
Okay.
Brantley at Luverne.
Brantley at Luverne. Is that a Thursday night?
Now that's Friday night. That's what it says here.
Brantley at Luverne. Okay.
Florella at Houston County.
Flo at Houston County. I got you.
Georgiana. No, I'm sorry. Let's back that up. All right. Luverne's at Brantley. Luverne's at Brantley. Houston County is at Florella. New Brockton is at Georgiana. Let's see. I'm trying to find the next local school. They've got every one of them listed.
Yeah, all right, so all the high
It says
schools.
Kinston at Zion Chapel.
Okay,
And
yeah.
Zion Chapel, I saw on the Dothan Eagle, they're going to play all their games in Enterprise
Are they really?
in that big stadium
Oh, man.
to allow for unlimited spectators.
Yeah.
In the Dothan paper, it listed what all the schools were going to limit. Some are limiting 20 or 25%.
Yeah,
Some are letting everybody come in.
yeah.
And so that will affect
To
some.
my knowledge, everybody comes in.
Zion Chapel is really going to Enterprise to play every game.
That's what I read it in the Dothan paper this morning. All their home games will be played in Enterprise.
Well, there'll be some Friday night games when Enterprise is playing on the road, you know.
I mean, it's got everyone.
Did it say who Enterprise opens up with?
Let me see if I can find it.
They were supposed to open up with that team out of Miami they played last year, but that game got canceled.
Yeah, they might be canceled out.
No, I'm sorry.
Their coach came from Florida.
Now, this says August the 28th, and we're talking the 20. It's not showing. Let's see. This is going to be the 21st tomorrow.
The 21st.
Yeah, that's right.
But this is the official schedule next week.
Not this week.
Yeah. But in that Dothan paper I had the other day, it had the games that will be playing this Friday night.
I used to get two papers.
I
used to get two papers every day for this show, and I don't get them anymore. But I will start back.
Where do you? I have to drive all the way.
I know
to
it's
the
hard to
Flash
find
Market.
them.
I have to drive all the way in front of.
Rodeo.
I have to go past Walmart to the right to get the Dothan paper.
That's
There's
right.
usually only one in there.
That's right. Now you're right.
What is the newspaper? Explain to me what that
The
is.
sports pages on
It costs you
the
$2
Dothan
a
Eagle.
paper.
That's right. It sure does. It costs $2 a paper.
Have laptops at your at the desk up there, and you can just look on that the whole time.
Well, we had one sitting in front of us just a few moments ago, but we took it away.
But you know, Mike, what we'll have to do is you've got to purchase the subscription online, otherwise you get blocked.
Yeah.
When you want to read a certain article, it blocks you. You can't read it. You have to subscribe.
What
to
I'd
it,
like to do is see a list, Steve. If you've got a list of the high school games scheduled for this week. Of course, we look at the Dothan Eagle and the.
I can find them.
I wouldn't buy them up.
Well, I'd like to find out what the actual date is, and of course, right now we're looking at the 21st. The 20th will be tomorrow. Excuse me, 20th is today, and the 21st is tomorrow. As high school football around the state of Alabama starts. And,
no games we were mentioning earlier is going to be the 28th.
The Big Ten is now reporting that they won't revisit the postponement of the fall season, but apparently athletic director Gene Smith of Ohio State is trying to get Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan, and Wisconsin to all agree to play again, and somehow find a way to maybe play 5 games at home and 5 games away between all those teams.
That'd be pretty good football.
And to have a season, but apparently the Big Ten commissioner Warren has already said that there's no way that's going to be able to happen for these teams to do this and stay in the Big Ten. So they all want to go out independent.
Listen, if they didn't, let me tell you this. Let me just tell you how gutless this is. The commissioner of that conference, if he issued that ultimatum to Ohio State, to Nebraska, to Penn State, to Oklahoma, wait a minute, Iowa State or Iowa.
No, it's Iowa.
Iowa. Well, look, they're much bigger than this guy in the conference. If they pulled out of the conference, they would not have a conference anymore.
Well, he's already shot it down. But the thing is, it turns out like when this came to a vote as far as canceling the season in the Big Ten, that's 14 teams. Only 2 teams were doing all they could to try to play a season. That was Nebraska and Iowa.
Yeah.
So initially, Ohio State and Michigan and all, Wisconsin and all these other programs, they said they didn't want to play. So I guess they didn't realize all these players and now all their family members apparently are going to have a big protest.
Man, I knew that Ohio State couldn't sit there and watch all these other teams play and they not play. I mean, this is going to kill their program if they don't watch it.
They agreed to it initially. Apparently, they thought when they made their decision, all of college football would just, basically shut down because of them. And
I know it. They had milk thrown in their face by their commissioner. Let me tell you another thing, another little movement, and it's by your Ole Miss coach, Mike. He wants to.
Transfer,
he wants them to be able to transfer. What kind of team would Ole Miss have if half the Ohio State team transferred? And like you said,
how bad is that if you're a player to have to listen to your coach?
And then you have 2 years to be a freshman. like you said that.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see by them not doing this, the portal would be wide open, Mike, for players to transfer. What if the quarterback at Ohio State transferred to Ole Miss?
That's today's game.
Tonight's game. Steve Camp.
A-Rab at Albertville. I've been to both of those places, A-Rab and Albertville. That's up in North Alabama. You got Coleman at Grissom. Grissom's out of Huntsville. You got Pike Road locally against Montgomery Catholic. That's tonight. That's a kickoff classic, is what they're calling it. And then you've got Spanish Fort at Fairhope.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm surprised that there are not more Thursday night games than this.
You got Spain Park at Huntsville. That's our buddy Fleetwood that we like a lot.
Mark Fleetwood.
Yeah, that's right. Like Oaks Fleet a lot, no question about it.
And then on Friday night, you got Austin at Hartsville, Baker at UMass Wright, Buckhorn at Madison County, Clay Chalkville at Shades Valley. That should be a pretty good game. Of course, Clay Chalkville's defense coordinator is a local kid from Troy, Adam
Helms. Married a Bassett. Hey, you talking about a bloodline?
Yeah, Lacey.
That's a pretty good bloodline, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a great rivalry game. Gadsden City at Etowah.
Yeah, that is. That's right across the street from each other almost.
This is a huge local game as well. You have Hewitt Trussville against Pinson Valley.
That'll be a goodie.
And what we mentioned at the start of the show, Hoover at Central Phoenix City is a huge game.
Tell me, you surprised me a little bit about the coaches here. Nix is now at Central of Phoenix City?
Yes.
Yeah, he wanted to be closer to his son at Auburn.
Yeah. And
then you got Lynette at Georgiana. That should be a good matchup. Of course, Lynette won the state championship last year, and Georgiana was actually down last year. And then another good game. Leah Montgomery's really improved. They'll be at Daphne.
Yeah, that's
McAdory at St. Paul's. That is a long trip for McAdory to go all the way from almost Bessemer to St. Paul's.
That's right.
They have to take 16 buses.
With McAdory, the home of Bo Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another kickoff classic. Prattville at Wetumpka will be a huge game.
Wow.
That'd be a good one, yeah.
Another big game. Ramsey is loaded with players at Bessemer City. Ramsey's downtown Birmingham, south side, right next to where I went to church in Birmingham. Sparkman at Gardendale, and then Theodore at Saraland. So there's a lot of games tomorrow night.
I want to hear some South Alabama games, Mike. You see some.
That's the wrap-up.
That's what I'm saying. I think next week is going to be the official opener. Let's see here.
Then you got a huge game also. Defending state champs, Thompson.
Alabaster.
On Saturday. So that's the games that actually count right there.
Yeah.
I just told you those 20 games.
Mike, I'm looking at a Vestavia Mountain Brook game. I thought you said they weren't going to play each other.
It's probably been moved.
All right, it's going to be tomorrow night, or let's see.
No, they can't play. They can't play.
Well, they don't show it being canceled, and of course they can't
play though. They had to hold out for 2 weeks because of Buddy Anderson having the virus.
Okay, all right, okay. We're thumbing through.
It might get rescheduled on down the road, but it's not going to be played this week or next.
And it does show the Charles Henderson Marbury game. You could go and eat seafood in Prattville, Mike, and drive on over to the game.
Where do you eat seafood in Prattville?
You know that
it's on the right.
On the right, that all they probably can't do it though because it's a buffet. I don't know if.
Well, there's one of them that they'll bring it to you.
That's right. Yeah.
Only doing outside dining when we go to establishments.
That's right. But it does show the Charles Henson game on this schedule, Mike, and it's sort of telling me.
It doesn't count. They would have had it. They would have had it listed on AL.com.
Okay. Carol, I kind of Ozark, I might drive down to see that one. That'd be a good football game.
One thing I noticed in the Dothan paper, and I didn't print the article, it was in yesterday's paper, but some of the schools are not allowing the visiting bands to come.
Yeah.
Some are. It depends on the size of the stadium.
Yeah.
And it's going to be limited capacity in some stadiums and some not.
And,
Like Charles Henderson, there's no limitations because they play in Veterans Stadium. But for anybody traveling, you better put your mask in your pocket.
That's right. No question. They might not even let you in. Stick that mask on, ladies and gentlemen, when you're going out. Now, me and Forrest Lee are 6 feet apart. And, of course, stay tuned for the Forrest Lee Show, brought to you by the great folks at Jim Mullis. We put fish in your pond.
But
Tell us about that.
Jim works in conjunction with a fellow by the name of Jet Trotter.
Okay.
They own Pond Stalker 2. It's located on the Shellhorn Road. And what they do, they can manage your pond. They can put a fountain in one of your ponds or lakes or whatever. They can manage your anything that you have as it relates to water. And they stock fish. They can clean your pond. They can put a beautiful water fountain in it that lights up at night. So that number will be on your screen in just a few minutes. Pond Stalker 2. And it's one of our new sponsors for you and this show, and we're proud to have them. One thing that he noticed was that the Janice Hawkins Park with the terracotta, that'd be a beautiful place to clean that pond up and have a beautiful illuminating fountain, or even the
lagoon.
The lagoon.
Yeah, exactly.
The lagoon.
And of course they've got one in Janice Hawkins.
There's one.
I think there's a fountain there. Yeah,
okay.
It sure is. That's a beautiful area. Just hear rumor, and I know this is just rumor, that Mike, that our defensive coordinator might be coming back to Troy, a town he loves. Not to work right now, but just.
That would be bad news for Brandon Hall, our defense coordinator.
No. I mean, what I'm saying, I'm thinking he might still have property here.
Will he be the greatest analyst of all time?
I don't know, but I tell you what, he's sure welcome back. He loves Troy. He loved it before he left before, and he loves Troy, and hopefully he does move back to this area.
Right. Hey, we have.
I know he's got some property down at the beach, so that's probably another reason he would come out this way.
Before I leave the show on our break, there's one thing I want to mention that I read in the Dothan paper today. In southeast Alabama, in the Wiregrass, there was a fella by the name of Clayton Jordan. He coached tennis and taught tennis for years in that Dothan area. He was 69 years old. He passed away recently of a 3-week battle with COVID-19, and for the last 25 years he helped Providence Christian in a lot of things. But Clayton Jordan was well known in the Dothan and Wiregrass area for teaching tennis to youth. Yeah. And I wanted to just mention that to our listeners.
He must have been loved by a lot of people, because Will Matthews posted something.
Clayton Jordan.
Adams' mom was posting about him. Like, everybody I knew from Dothan was posting about him yesterday. He must have been a super great guy.
Yeah,
right.
And,
Stephanie Campbell is going to be with us in this next segment. Now, you're welcome to sit on that end down there if you want to.
Oh, that's fine. I'm going to be heading toward the Brundage Country Club.
Tell us about the Brundage Country Club and how much fun it is to play golf down there.
It's great. There's people playing right now. There's a group of members who walk every morning, most every morning. And but we're open usually around 8:30.
If I come down there, can we get in a cart and ride around and you tell me about each hole and so forth? That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can.
Of course, it is a great place for you to play golf, and very reasonably priced.
It's reasonably priced. The green fees are $12 during the week, $15 on the weekend, and for every 9 holes that you ride, it's $10 for your cart fee.
That's not bad at all.
We have a fully stocked.
I think you should find another job. You only have about 4 or 5 of them, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, he's retired.
Well, I'm not going to let it.
Somebody asked me. Said,
he works about 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah.
And he helps us out.
Well, I cut grass a little bit, but however, I will say this: there's something brewing on the horizon. That's all I can say.
Let me say this.
How about you doing a cooking show on Troy Cable?
I would love to do that.
All that stuff you do.
I tell you what, he makes a wonderful strawberry cake. Anybody wants a great strawberry cake, he'll bake you one. We got to have, be worth your while to do it, and of course,
I would love to do it.
He is an excellent cook, no question about it.
He could do an country cake show on Joy Cable.
Yeah,
You know, every morning when I wake up, of course, I've been doing this talk show since 1998. And, you know, getting up, I mean, I've been retired since 1998. And somebody said, well, oh, you don't have to worry about anything. You're retired. And I told him, just like I tell myself every morning when I'm taking that shower, what am I doing this? I mean, hey, if you're retired, this is the best example of being retired.
Well,
it's being able to stay up as late as you want to and get up as late as you want to.
Well, I went into Cinco Drugs Monday morning and bought like
a 12.
I bought a 12-pack of 6-ounce Coca-Colas or 8-ounce Coca-Cola, Sprite, and Diet Coke, and got a bunch of M&Ms and candy and different stuff and peanuts, and just delivered it to the teachers. And I told the people at Cinco, I said, I'm on my goodwill tour. Yeah. But as a retired, I just love doing stuff.
Stephanie Baker is our guest. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with Stephanie Baker, of course, a city councilwoman here in Troy, Alabama. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
Bartley.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
A personal touch. A high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson Satisfaction.
Back to our show, brought to you by Stephanie Baker, of course, City Council District 4. And, of course, that election is
Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, my dear friend Stephanie has joined us this morning, and we're going to talk a little bit about Troy, Alabama, one of the great cities in America. And of course, this is your second term or third term?
Well, I'm trying to go back for my second term.
Second term. And
yes,
of course,
I've served for 4 years.
Have you enjoyed it?
I really have. I love this place, and I've always served in some way or another. This was just a different way to serve. But I really have. We have enjoyed a lot of growth. There's been a lot of things for us to celebrate. We've tackled some really hard things, though, in the past 4 years as well. But it's been really rewarding.
You know, I was talking to somebody one time about, being a member of the city council. Just to have to commit yourself to every Tuesday of the year is pretty hard.
Yes, we meet every other Tuesday now.
Every other Tuesday. That's
so it's
better.
Twice.
Yeah. Better. Yeah.
It is.
And but they used to meet every Tuesday.
Yeah. So we meet the second and the fourth Tuesdays each month.
Yeah.
And that's just for our public, our public meetings. So there's meetings that go on, in small ways. We can't obviously convene as a council and take action without it being a public forum.
Does every council member have a opponent?
No, sir. District 1 has a race. That's presently Robert Jones now. Is the incumbent, and so he has an opponent. And then District 4, obviously, me. And then we have a mayoral race. So so 3 of our council members have already secured their next term.
Okay. Of course, Stephanie Baker is running for the city council seat, or district number 4, and that entails what area of Troy?
So I have a really interesting district. It starts above the airport in Childs Road, and it comes through down 231. I've got Heritage Ridge, Ryan Street, Trojan Way, that community, Palos Verdes. It goes into the historic district, Hillcrest, and then Hunter's Mountain, Henderson Highway, Town and Country. So geographically, when you look at the district map, I have the largest geographic district that it looks like. Of course, those lines are drawn based on population. So I've got a lot of great neighborhoods. I'm really blessed. There's a lot of great people that live in District 4.
I noticed a lot of these signs around, and it's a very good-looking sign.
Population, like how many people live in that actual district? I mean, do you have those kind of numbers?
Well, I can tell you that we've got right under 2,000 that's on the voter registration list. So obviously that is, not everyone's registered to vote, and sometimes voter registration lists can be lagging. Some of those people may not live here any longer. But, we have a census. I'll put my plug in for the census. We have an opportunity to update those numbers because it's obvious that we have grown. So we need everybody to fill out their census so that we can report some really good, accurate information, population obviously being one of those.
No question about it.
I was telling Dad, in Troy, Alabama, every time I go through the city, and of course I grew up there, and I guess I moved away probably when I was 23 and moved to Birmingham, and now I live down here at the beach, but Troy has grown so much. My wife and I, every time we come home, we can't believe just like going through the campus and just seeing all the different things that weren't even there the year before. So
it is exciting.
To the industry and what's been brought, to the community and all these other projects that looks like are going to start up soon. I'm very proud of what Troy has accomplished these last 5-10 years.
Well, we always want you and anyone and everyone that has roots here to be proud to call Troy your hometown. It's kind of like children grow up when you see someone every day, you may not notice just how tall they've gotten, just how big they've gotten, but then when you show up for that annual family reunion or Christmas and your grandmother, everybody says, you've grown 3 feet. That's kind of how I feel like Troy is. I don't know that we realize sometimes as a community, the people that are here day in and day out, just how quickly we have grown. Michael, would you have ever guessed we would have had a Publix, 10 years ago? Not even 5 years ago.
I'd hoped and prayed that was going to happen.
Right.
I met my wife. A lot of times we actually stopped in Montgomery to hit Publix before we hit Troy.
And we've got a new shopping center now that they're digging dirt every day out there, and so we've got a lot of those exciting retail, Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx, Ulta, a lot of those type of businesses that's coming up. But so we do have a lot of new development, but it's also been really great to see revitalization going down. We've got a lot of downtown businesses. We've got loft living. Michael, would you have ever thought you could live downtown Troy in a loft? And I understand there's developers that are still looking for property every day that they can. So it's exciting that we can. So it's exciting that we've got a lot of new stuff, but then we also are revitalizing, re-energizing really a lot of our historic properties also.
And Sanders Truck Lines is building a what would you call it, Steve? A new platform over here. Yeah, that's right, new set here, and we appreciate those guys being so supportive of not only our show but our community to get the word out on a lot of things. And of course, this election is this next coming Tuesday. Where will they vote from?
So District 4 votes at First Baptist Church in their activities building.
That's easy to find.
It is. And today, I'd love to mention...
You just happen to go to church there.
I do. I can walk there. It's great. But I also want to mention that today is the deadline to apply for an absentee ballot. And, with COVID, not everybody might feel comfortable going to the polls. Now, I know that there's been an extra concerted effort to ensure that poll workers are safe. I know the last time we just voted in this primary, they gave me a pen and they said, you hang on to this pen, do not give it back to us. They were sanitizing everything. They had the mask on. But for whatever reason, if you're not going to be here next Tuesday, if you don't feel comfortable getting out, you can call City Hall, talk to our city clerk, Shannon Bryan, today, and she will walk you through the steps of how you can easily vote absentee. But today is the deadline, so you got to call before 5 to City Hall. Local residents, just call 311. It's as easy as that.
That's right. Of course, your husband is a local attorney, and
he is
actually the city court judge.
He is our municipal judge. He was appointed before I took office.
So if you don't vote for Stephanie Baker, we're gonna put you in jail.
Oh no! Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that.
I've been funny.
So he loves it. He does a great job, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I've had, people ask, is that a conflict of interest? Because the city council does appoint the municipal judge every 2 years, and obviously I abstain from that. So for twice out of every 4 years, we vote on that, and I abstain from that, obviously. But he got that position before I was on city council, and he absolutely loves it.
Yeah. Of course, he is a Mobile native, but like
he's a Mount Brook.
He's from Birmingham.
What am I thinking about? He's from Birmingham.
He is from Birmingham.
I don't know what comes out of my mouth.
My mother's from Mobile, so.
Stephanie and I both married somebody from Mount Brook.
Yes,
right. That's
but
right.
he would never tell anybody that he is from Mount Brook. He's from Birmingham. He doesn't think that he's a typical Brookie. So usually people have to drag it out of him. But Mike, I have to.
My wife's the same way. She always just says she's from Birmingham, and then I'll say she's from Mount Brook.
But he'll tell you in a second how important the Vestavia Mountain Brook game is every year.
Oh, now he still has deep-seated feelings towards Vestavia for sure. He was a soccer player, so he still has that competition. But
so my nephew John Crow from Birmingham, he played on the Vestavia state championship team. Back, what was that? 92? What was
that was 98.
98, and of course. Deep roots.
Well, I have to tell you, Troy is my hometown, and I love it. And I went off to get my college degree, and was living in Birmingham, and had a great job in economic development, which has served me really well. Being on the city council. Started dating this guy that was in law school, and he is actually the one who really started thinking about what would life look like if we moved back to Troy. Which was fine with me. It wasn't part of my plan, but you know what God says about our plans. But he started coming home with me and visiting just on the weekends, and he said, Troy, I think, is a place that he was starting to interview, and law firms were telling him, really kind of encouraging them to not start a family right when he started his practice. And he said, I think Troy is a place that I can make a good living, but I can, I can watch the game on Saturday. I can go to church on Sunday. And so we've been married for 17 years. We bought a home, our first home together, and he moved. So he's actually been here longer than I have. He's been here for 18 years. Yeah. I moved back right before we got married, and I'm so thankful that he, brought me back home. And I cannot imagine life anywhere else.
Well, no question about it. You raised your children.
I remember when y'all first started dating. I was living in Birmingham at the time, and I guess you were still finishing up Birmingham Southern.
Yep.
This is your life, Stephanie Baker.
You never know when you come sit down with you, Mike.
Why don't we just go ahead and mention that we spent every Christmas with Stephanie until I was probably in high school at the Beards.
Yes.
You're right. They used to sing that song every Christmas. We're not going to mention. But we were talking about that the other day, and when we saw each other at the post office, we had our face
Yes.
mask on, and
I've got mine.
And
Yeah.
if you're leaving the premises of your own home to go to the library or to go to the post office or the drugstore or the grocery store, you need to be wearing this mask, and we appreciate all of the
Yes,
folks.
we need to do everything we can to get these numbers down.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen a recent spike. I personally attribute that to the university has welcomed students
That's
back
right.
in, so we're seeing students that are coming in from different places. And, you know, but I know that they're working hard to remind their students to wear a mask and to not gather
I've
in
always
large
wondered
crowds.
how the city council works with the university on finding out. I mean, to me, I would think every student needs to be tested.
They do. They are required.
It was required to test that
But,
before they started school.
That's what I was saying. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying, and they've done that, and makes you feel a lot better about it.
Yeah,
No question about it.
absolutely. And, you know, it works really well when you ask about the relationship between the city
Yeah.
and the university is obviously from an administrative level. Chancellor Hawkins and Mayor Reeves and the City Council, we really do. We have a great working relationship together. But Herb Reeves, who is the Dean of Students at Troy University, also serves as our local EMA director.
Yes,
so
that's right.
it's great to be able to have him to
No
really
question about
be a
it.
liaison and make sure that, you know, good, accurate information is getting out. It's the same messaging. So it works out really well.
This is about the only time of year that I've worn a shirt like this. I'm laid back this morning, and of course getting ready for another big day in Troy, Alabama. Of course, Stephanie Baker is our guest this morning, and of course she's with the in the 4th district of the city council race, and of course again vote for Stephanie Campbell. And if you'd like to make a telephone call into our show this morning, 670-0052, 670-0052 if you'd like to call in and ask any question to Stephanie. She'll be here for a little while this morning. And
I know, Stephanie, you had a big role in Troy Fest. I would imagine all that's been canceled, and
Yeah.
will be back next year, or what?
You know, it's funny that you say that because I was thinking about that this morning, that's typically in the past
That's right.
when I've always come on the show has always
That's right,
been.
from downtown Troy.
Yeah,
we'd
Troy Fest.
There's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know, that was formerly the Jean Lake Festival for when you and I were growing up, and for other people that remember that. And I always had such fond memories as a child going to Jean Lake. And when I did move back 17 years ago, in fact, I was in town. I think I had an engagement type of event going on, and I drove by the square, and this was before we moved back, before we got married, and there was, you know, I saw these tents set up in downtown square, and so we walked around, and it was artists, and it was great. Got married, and the next year I said I want to get involved in that. I was involved with the art festival in Birmingham, and that's something, cultural arts is just something that I've always been interested in. And the event planner in me, plus the arts and all that, it made for a perfect combination. But I've served as chairman over, I guess about 10 years. And grew that. But yes, Michael, it was canceled. I'm no longer serving the chair as that. I've learned in leadership, you're not really a good leader if when you leave, you know, something leaves with you. So I've passed that down to Morgan and Rob Drinkard, and they've done a fabulous job. But it was canceled this past April, and I really hope that, you know, certainly by next April that we'll be able to have that again.
No question about it. It's one of the big events in Troy every year, and of course, like you said, you had to shut it down this year, and like we have so many other things, and you know, it's this thing, this virus has hit everybody in every way of life. There's no question about it, and if you can't take it serious, you better look out.
Yeah.
Because you better take it serious.
I know you've got plans for the next 4 years. I mean, I saw your campaign commercial. That was great. Sticking with Stephanie. I've been seeing a lot of people post.
Sticking with Stephanie.
Yeah.
That's my little slogan this year, sticking with Stephanie.
So what are some of your goals for the next 4 years coming up?
Well, certainly I want to work with the mayor and the city council to keep us on this trajectory of growth. We still have a lot of things on the horizons, with these economic development projects. And some of that's not only just new businesses. We still have a lot of interest from new businesses that have come and they're looking at sites and they're considering doing business in Troy. And these things can take time. It can take years, really. But we also have some of our existing businesses that have some real opportunities to expand and to grow as well. So that is certainly going to be a priority. I really want to focus. Right before the pandemic hit, actually, I was working with some of our department heads at City Hall and doing some research on how we could incentivize some investment downtown. The Small Business Development Center has now moved downtown Troy, which I'm really excited about, in the old Regions Bank building. And we've got buildings that they need occupied. They need some TLC, and then we've got people who are really looking for buildings. They want to move their business downtown, or perhaps they're just a developer. They want to develop lofts. They want to develop office space. So I think there's a real opportunity there that we could sort of do some matchmaking. And I'm saying downtown Troy because I think we all recognize that, but there's certainly places that's throughout the city. We have some historic properties that, they have a great story and they have a great architecture, but it's going to take some considerable investment. But we're working hard. We've developed some pretty strong ordinances to deal with some properties who, they're really beyond repair, and it's time that we need to just get rid of those and clear off that lot and clear off that land and make room for someone to come build something that's nice and new. Not necessarily our historic properties, but just some residents, throughout the city. So that certainly is one of my priorities.
Like a little boutique hotel, maybe only like 14, 16 rooms, but right in downtown. That'd be awesome.
It would be great.
A lot of your big, college towns, they have great downtowns where you can stay and just walk everywhere. Where you don't have to worry about driving, and it's safer, it's fun, and it's great. As far as bringing in money to all the bars and restaurants and different things going on. So
yeah. We've got a few Airbnbs that are downtown, and they have proven to stay, booked. In fact, the other night I was driving through, and we've got a new development that's right there across from the Methodist Church, Confetti Crate, and it looked like it was a family. Perhaps it was move-in weekend for the university. So I thought, they've probably come in with their student to move them in, and they're here for the weekend, and they're exploring downtown, and they were outside kind of cooking out, and who would have ever thought that downtown Troy is a destination? But it is. But you're right, Michael. We definitely need some more spaces. Boutique hotel would be a great fit.
And I would like another motel, one or two more motels, because a lot of you can't blame them. But the Ozarks, the Greenvilles, the Andalusias, the Luvernes, their hotels are packed on football weekends. And if we had more motel space, we could keep more of those people here in Troy.
We do. I know that there has been some talks with a hotel. And we also need some meeting space. The university has been very generous about allowing people to rent their meeting space, their ballrooms, but sometimes that presents their own challenges when you're working with someone else's schedule or their limitations. But we need more venues in Troy, places for, if you had a conference,
that's right.
or, places to have a wedding or something like that. So,
the Bryant Conference Center at the University of Alabama, and Troy really needs a conference center. That would be great.
Yep.
Because there's
literally 20 different, meeting rooms and a couple of huge conference rooms, and you could have so many events and bring so much to Troy as far as retreats and all kinds of different businesses.
Yeah.
All right, we got a call coming in. Mike, I'm gonna put you on hold. I'll be right back with you. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. You're talking to Stephanie Baker, candidate for the City Council District 4. She's the incumbent. Good morning.
Well, she doesn't have long to go. I think the election's next week, isn't it?
That's right, my friend. Will Matthews is calling from Ozark this morning, a local attorney, and we're glad to have you, my friend. What's going on? Did Ozark have an election?
Oh, yeah. Ozark's got, there's 3 councilmen running and the mayor's running. So there's 4
The mayor is running, okay, but Bearfield is not running for this time. Is that right?
No.
My good friend, Mike Bearfield.
Yeah, Bob Bunning's running again, and Mark Blankenship, the chairman of the county commission, is running, and then Dion Robinson's running, and then there's another guy running.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them running.
Exactly right.
So there'll be a runoff.
Of course, Will sits in on Troy City Council meetings, or not City Council meetings, but court here in Troy. You've served court many times in Troy, is that right?
Yeah, anytime Matt needs help, I come up there and help.
Y'all got Matt's wife Stephanie on the show this morning, and of course she is a very enthusiastic person. You couldn't have a better councilman than Stephanie Baker. I'll go out and say that right now.
I appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah, but you know, another thing, you relate to so many different groups here in Troy, and that's very important that you're interested in everything. But Troy is a town where young people, a lot of young people like yourself, are raising their children and are taking part in different city and county functions and so forth. And I think it's wonderful. My wife's cousin moved here a few years ago from Birmingham, Mountain Brook, you know, and from Mountain Brook to Troy, Alabama, pretty different as far as the income goes because of, you know, it's just a thriving community. But she loves Troy.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because of young people like you that welcome those the new people
Well, if
in
you
Troy.
look around, you know, we're very blessed that communities our size traditionally throughout the state, really throughout the country, are not growing. So we really are against the trend. People come to us. I mean, we've had people come into our town. I've had the opportunity. I was participated in a Leadership Alabama last year program where I traveled to other communities of different sizes. And sometimes when you get out, you realize how good you've got it. But the difference is, you're right, in between the towns that are, you know, our mayor always says you're either growing or you're dying. And the difference is in the people. It's having good leadership, but you're right, having people that that come from all neighborhoods, that are all generations that come together and work, and certainly having that young lifeblood that brings the energy and the new ideas just to keep it going.
Proud to be a Trojan. Will, I got another call coming in. I'll put you on hold. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing? You're talking to Stephanie Baker, a candidate for in District 4, the City Council member running for re-election. Hello?
Hello.
All right, you on the air.
This is Jerry Hollis.
Jerry Hollis, my good friend. How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm doing very well.
You know this young lady pretty well, don't you?
Hey, every time I see Stephanie, I'm more impressed with her dedication and her, you know, drive to make things better for everybody. And the first thing that pops into my mind, Mike, is that if it ain't broke, what's to fix?
That's right. You know? I agree with you.
We got a good thing. Let's keep it going. It's running smoothly. Everything's fine. There are no problems or controversy. So my vote is purely for Stephanie. If we could do any better, we would go into the unknown. But we have a known product with Stephanie and also with Reeves. So I think say we stick with a good thing.
Born and raised, born and raised herself here in Troy, Alabama, and of course her family is here and for many, gonna be here for many generations to come. She loves our community, and ladies and gentlemen, this young lady wants she be a member of the City Council to serve our community and to make it a better place to live. Jerry, you moved in from
totally dedicated.
You've lived different places. What stands out to you about your old hometown of Troy, Alabama?
Well, yes, I've lived in different places and had 2 or 3 different occupations, and it was so good to get back to Troy because of all the places I've been to, people are more friendly here. They have respect for elders, you know, and I'm kind of elder. And people open the door for you, something like that. And, you know, it's just good to be back where people are people. I mean, really grounded in their faith and in their practice. And it's just a pleasure to be back in Troy, Alabama. Wish I had never gone.
Jerry Hollis was a right guard on the 1957 Troy High School team that won the South Alabama Conference Championship. At right guard, Jerry Hollis. At left guard, Buddy Brantley. At left tackle, Jim Colley. At right tackle, Columbus Patman. The quarterback is Tom Murphy. The fullback is Bill Rice. The running backs are the Dozier twins, Kerry and Cecil. The wide receivers are Burt Martin and Herman Lindsay. How many people do you know in this part of the country that can do that, Jerry?
Not many.
I'm impressed.
The starting lineup for the 1957 Troy Trojans, coached by Sonny Queen and Leon
That is impressive. It is impressive.
And your uncle.
Being an elderly person, it's nice to. It's really nice to have a little notoriety.
Well, let me tell you this.
I didn't know I had so much notoriety.
Well, let me tell you this. In 1964, I played on the Charles Simpson team that won the South Alabama Conference Championships. Had to beat Enterprise just like you had to beat Enterprise to win that championship. Yeah. A little guy named, little junior number 1 guy named Eugene Shaver. I was just a kid in the 5th grade, watched Eugene Shaver go 69 yards against Enterprise to beat them and win that championship.
Yeah, Gene alternated with the Dozier boys. And he was a good ball player. We had a lot of good memories about that. Sonny Queen was a good man, and he was a good coach.
And let me tell you, they came out with orange pants and blue jerseys and orange helmets. I remember that. I was a little kid sitting on the bank up there watching y'all run sprints.
Well, I tell you, Mike, I was just happy when we got a nose guard.
I know it.
You know, my senior year, we got a nose guard, and my nose did a lot better. It was scarred up most of the time.
Jerry, I'm gonna give it
back to the point. The point is, Baker, and I'm just thrilled that you are hosting her today, and it's a good move and a good direction, my friend.
Well, you're exactly right, and you know, like we were mentioning earlier, I've known her ever since she was a young girl. You know, from watching her grow up into a fine young woman in our community, a person that is willing to give back to the community. This is something that that you are enjoying and being a part of, Stephanie. But at the same time, you have a lot of obligations. You're a business person. Tell us what you do for a living.
Sure. Well, I first want to thank Mr. Hollis for calling in and for your kind words. And I'll quickly say this is, you know, Mr. Hollis, you're a great example of people. There's room for everyone in Troy. That he moved back to Troy. So much times we focus on students and young families, but Mr. Hollis and his wife moved back to Troy in retirement, and I'm so thankful. I call them neighbors. They live down the street from me, and you know, when the storm hit, he was one of the first ones that was, you know, how can I help? So I appreciate it. I'm glad that you are here. But yes, you asked about, I work full-time for KW Plastics, the world's largest plastics recycler. And that gives me really a unique perspective into the role that industry plays here. You know, we do have a lot of industry here. It's a diverse industry, which is great. It helps sustain our economy. But it also really helps me understand the benefit the industry provides in terms of, you know, jobs in tax revenue, but also in our utility rates. We have some of the lowest utility rates really in the nation, and it's because the city owns and operates our own utility system, and we're able to go to the open market, negotiate. I don't think people realize, but the mayor of the city of Troy is really the CEO of a utilities company.
Yeah.
And he negotiates, and of course the city council has to approve all of those contracts. But we are able to buy at wholesale power much cheaper than we would if we just had to buy it from someone like Alabama Power, and it's because we have such a large pull from our industrial base. I'm proud that KW Plastics plays a role in that. But
of course, industry looks at that where they can save money on their infrastructure.
Absolutely, it's a huge advantage when we are recruiting new industry here that they're really surprised at their utility rates. But typically, I would be traveling a lot to talk about recycling. I work with major brand companies. I work with municipalities and talk about recycling as economic development. I hadn't been doing much traveling lately with the pandemic. In fact, this is the longest that I've been without being on a plane in a really long time. So we're doing lots of Zoom calls, and but it's great because it gives me a unique perspective into our business community. That was one thing I learned quickly when I came onto the Troy City Council is not being from government necessarily. I like to move fast. When things make sense, let's just make a decision and let's move on. And so I've had to learn to slow down a little bit and go through proper process, of course, and as we should. There's a lot of transparency and ethics that around our decision-making process. But coming from the business world and being able to look at finances, to be able to look at policies, to be able to really just have some good common sense, honestly, at the end of the day, about what is good for our community.
Another one very important aspect of this community is fiber optic cable.
Yes.
Right here from
Yes.
Troy Cable. When my good buddy, and of course, they've been here for quite a while now. But when Harold Freeman decided to run fiber optic cable from Troy to Luverne, people said, "What are you doing?" Even his own kids were saying, "What are you doing?" He said, "You'll find out." And sure enough, Troy led the way with fiber optic cable and ran it all over South Alabama. Not only did it enhance Troy, but it's enhanced so many people in Central and South Alabama.
Yeah, and that's part of the infrastructure that we have here. When you talk about utilities, fiber optic cable, water and sewage, we have an amazing infrastructure here. And what that does is it supports, obviously, those of us that live here, but it also ensures that we're able to grow strategically and healthy, so that if someone new comes in, if there's a new neighborhood development, a new big business, we can just build on top of it. We're not taking away from what we have. It doesn't affect our service at all. But certainly that is another really big component as we're trying to recruit and expand businesses to be able to, it's really, I got to tell you, it's fun to see light bulbs go off when you've got, when you have executives that are in town, and whether they're here visiting us at KW Plastics and we're taking them to lunch at the Half Shell, and they think they're coming into this small town in Alabama, and I'm sure they probably have some stereotype expectations. And then when we are talking to businesses who are looking to expand into our area, and we do site visits and we take them around town, they're blown away. They have no idea. And just what all we have to offer as a community.
No question.
We're really
about
blessed.
It. And we appreciate our folks at our downtown merchants, and they do a great job. You're on today in LA. How you doing?
Hey, I was just calling back in.
Mike Amos calling in from Great Beach, Florida. That's where he resides now.
It's not a bad place. If you can't live in Troy, I guess being at the beach is second best.
Ate lunch at the Red Bar on Sunday, and
so they've reopened.
Monday. When did I? Sunday?
We've been celebrating birthdays for about a week. My wife's birthday was Sunday, but had so many family and different friends. I think we probably did about at least 5 different candles between me and Mary Prater. My little one turned 4 yesterday, so it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, we went to lunch or brunch Sunday at the Red Bar, and it was really good.
Really good.
So, Michael, I've got a question for you because this is something I've noticed over the years as I travel. So when people ask you where you're from and you say Troy, does that register with them? Have they heard of Troy?
Yeah, I mean, through Troy University.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say, we're in the Sun Belt Conference. A lot of times now I'll say, yeah, we beat LSU about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I've been in, Ubers all over the country, and I used to say years ago, like, where are you from? And I would just say, small town in Alabama. I'm sure they'd never heard of it before. Or I would say, I'm, 45 miles off of Montgomery. But now I proudly say Troy, and it's amazing how many people say, I've heard of that. But you're right, LSU had a lot to do with that.
You and I think so much alike.
Wally Sanders actually comes up a lot, too.
Yeah.
A lot of people all over the country have seen Wally Sanders trucks. But, I go to places like, I go to Vegas a lot. I usually go to Vegas every year, and sometimes I might have a Troy cap on or a Troy T-shirt on or something like that, and everybody, of course, out there knows Troy. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those type things where through the years, I feel like definitely more people know the name than ever before. I mean, I guess there's a Troy, New York, and a Troy, Michigan. There's some other Troys throughout the country.
Well, this Troy is special. I promise you that. And I've been a lot of places, and all I say is Troy.
Yeah.
I'm We Are. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Have you ever heard of We Are? Troy. We Are
Troy.
Well, if you, on a Saturday.
A lot of airports screaming and hollering. I'm surprised security didn't come. And
we have walked through the airport in Chicago saying We Are Troy. You're right. And proud of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, in Troy, we talk about it all the time. I guess the sun never sets on Troy University. It's not just when it comes to Troy University. I guess there's so many campuses in the state of Alabama and then all over the world on the military bases and stuff like that. A lot of people I meet down here are at Eglin Air Force Base, especially on the beaches down here in Graydon, and a lot of them had friends or families that went to school at Troy overseas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this, I really believe the key to Troy now is the young people. I mean, young people that are staying in Troy, having good jobs. You have a lot to do with that, hiring a lot of local people. But you look at it, the percentages now are more or less people staying in Troy.
Absolutely. I've been doing these pop-up popsicle parties is what I've been calling them, going into neighborhoods, because with the pandemic, I wasn't going to go door to door and try to talk to people and shake hands and kiss babies. It's a pandemic. It's just not time to do that. But I have been going into neighborhoods and with the Two Brothers Frozen Treats, the ice cream truck. Those would be some good guests for you to have. It's a neat family that has really given their young children a business, and they run it, and they're a neat family. But it's given me the opportunity to talk with a lot of people, and I can think just off the top of my head in just the last couple of days of about 7 or 8 different families, and they came here to go to the university. The husband, the wife, neither was from Troy, and but they decided to stay. They got jobs here. They got involved into the community.
And who are these people now?
Oh, well, I can think of a whole handful of people, but so I'm proud to call Troy my hometown. But there's a lot of people who necessarily they weren't born here, but they're claiming Troy now as their hometown, and they've gotten really involved. Their children get involved in sports, and they get active in their schools, and they have good jobs, and so it's great. And you're right, that is a big key to our success. Is we've got to have jobs. Michael mentioned a commercial that I've been running, and it's cute little Rascal style, kids playing school together, talking about what they want to be when they grow up. And one kid says, I want to be a welder. Another kid says, I want to be a rocket scientist. We have such a wide diversity of opportunities here. I mean, you've got we've got jobs in IT and development with CGI. Certainly with our manufacturing base, we have a wide variety of really high-skilled labor that we need, and so you don't. That is the Troy that we need. Is that you do not feel like you have to leave here to chase your dreams.
You look at the
apparently the airport in Troy is really nice. I've never. I mean, I guess I haven't been out there lately. I know your family's been involved with Campbell Field and the airport in Troy. I have a buddy that flies down every week from Birmingham, and he flies all over the country now, and he raves about Troy's airport, how nice it is for such a small town.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people would be amazed to see what kind of business goes on at the Troy airport. When you're talking about recruiting, I'll tell you this, if it was not for our airport, we wouldn't have CGI. And I cannot take responsibility for that. That was before I had the pleasure to serve on the council, but they will tell anyone and everyone that, they were traveling and they had to get from one point to the state to another point of the state, and they just said we don't have time to get to Troy. It looks like a nice place on paper, we don't have time, but they convinced them just to land in Troy, and the mayor got on the plane right there at the airport, and the rest is history. So if we had not had a regional airport and that had those extended runways so that we could get some of those larger size jets in here. And it's nice, with the football team.
In fact, people don't realize that a 747 could actually land in Troy. Is that right?
Well, I don't know that for sure.
727.
I don't know that for sure. But we get a lot of FAA grants, and that is something, that certainly for the KW and Sanders business, they have their own set of hangars there. But I do both. I travel commercially, and then I travel whenever it makes sense privately. And I have to tell you, the cost of business, it matters when you can get home to your family that at night instead of spending the night in an airport. I've gotten stuck in Atlanta several times. I've spent the night in a hotel lobby before, and was late, for my meeting in DC the next day. So having a regional airport really does help our not only attract new businesses, but our businesses that are here be able to do business really well.
Of course, let's look at
I know your dad's really into flying. Did Christopher or Newton or you, did y'all ever get into the flying bug? I mean, did any of them actually fly?
That's one of those, tell me something you would never know. I did actually take flying lessons. I was in college and was naive enough to think I could get a pilot's license in a month. So I did not get the pilot's license. I wasn't able to get, I never soloed, but I did, try that. But no, my brothers, they don't have their license. But
they can get on a plane when they need one. I know. Let's look at some important issues. Of course, Troy's an artsy town. We take pride in that. Our recreation program, we next to none. Great facilities and great recreation.
Again, that's one of those things. Until you get outside of Troy and you see what other recreation departments. Someone told me just a couple of weeks ago that the city of Fairhope, to sign up for rec ball in the city of Fairhope, I think they told me it was like $150 a registration. There's a lot of families that they cannot do that. It's $20 here that gets you a hat and a t-shirt, and but for families that if that would be a burden to them, Dan Smith has never turned a family away.
No question about
it. People have access to world-class facilities here for very little, if anything, cost.
Of course, very important is our school system, the local
absolutely
school system, and we're in good hands, aren't we?
Well, we've got a new superintendent now in Cynthia Thomas, and I'm excited about her. She's from Troy. She has been an administrator for several years, but she has her own ideas, and she has great relationships with the faculty and staff of our local city schools, and so I'm excited about that. A lot of people, I think, don't understand necessarily the role the city council plays when it comes to our local schools. We have a board of education that is in charge of the hiring of administration and the management, and the city council, we can't hire, we can't fire, we can't set curriculum and programs, but some of the things that we have done, we had a study 2 years ago from an outside source because we had some real concerns. We were hearing that there were funding woes shows going on at the city schools, and we felt like we just weren't getting good information. And so we had an outside third party come in and open up the books. We did a community survey to hear from the people, what did they want from our city schools. Last year, I actually had an opportunity to help organize, we called it Cradle to Career, because I think it's important when we talk about education in a community, we don't just focus on a school or even an elementary, middle school, and a high school. We need to understand what it's like for a child to be born in this city. How do we as a community support them from cradle, from birth, all the way to getting a career? And that's going to look different. There's different paths. There should be different paths but every student, every child that's born in this city needs a fair chance to be able to get a good education to prepare them, and whether that is that they go on to secondary, education at the university, if they go into a trade certification type of program, and we have those, or if they go straightly into the workforce. So it's important as a community that we understand we all have a role to play. But we do appoint the Board of Education, is the way that system is set up. And so when I had the opportunity to appoint someone, I did, and he is now serving, Jonathan Seelan, as the Board of Education chair, and is really overseeing that process of going through a new superintendent and restructuring, the way they look at their finances. So I am optimistic about our schools. I'm really optimistic with the continuing development of our city that is going to generate new property tax for these new businesses that come in, or as the businesses here that expand and there's more capital investment. And those ad valorem taxes directly impact and fund our schools. So the city schools, I won't be naive to say that they're perfect. There's always room to grow. But I know this. We have tremendous faculty and staff and administrators that are dedicated to our kids. And, right now, as they're preparing to get back and deal with COVID and this pandemic and how they're going to educate students and give them all these options, our teachers are working harder than perhaps they ever have had to before. And my hat's off to them. They really are our heroes. But our community needs to rally around and support them. We need to show up to the events. Our students need to see that our community cares about them. So, whether it's the football games on Friday nights, whether it's the band concerts that happen, and hopefully we'll be able to have more and more of those things. But we need to show up, and we need to show our students and families that as a community we care about their education.
Mike, Stephanie Baker, City Council District 4.
Yeah, before we wrap up, I know, we all grew up with Jason Reeves, and the last, several months, I've been so proud of Jason and the way he's represented the city of Troy, and, of course, with, John Lewis's passing and the funeral held in Troy and his speech, seen all over the country, all over the world. I mean, just give everybody your feelings on Jason Reeves. Troy's really got a great mayor, don't they?
Absolutely. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy getting to work, just getting to see him at work. He truly has a passion. I can tell you that he's truly burdened for this city. I mean, you can tell that when he makes decisions, he doesn't make them lightly. I mentioned before, a lot of people don't realize the mayor is the CEO of this city. They oversee the personnel, the budget. I mean, we as a city council, obviously, we take action to pass that budget, but it relies on the mayor's shoulders to ensure that the city is being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. The negotiations that happen in economic development, the utilities contracts alone, he's a great leader. I have been with him, and people have asked him from other places, if he had any interest, they really wanted to see him serve maybe at another level, run for a state position, run for Congress, and he doesn't even flinch about that at all. His heart is really here, and I've had the pleasure of serving with him, and I hope that I continue to do so.
Well, I'll just say this. You're a very, very impressive young woman and a young mother, and of course it means a lot to be to have children involved, in the decisions that you make.
Absolutely. Being a mom gives me great perspective, for sure, that I do it for my kids, for everyone's kids. And, anything that I am, I first have to give glory to God for that.
No question about it.
But I also have to give a lot of credit to this community that helped raise me in many ways. I have the teachers here, my church that I grew up in, but this community gave me opportunities to serve, and this is just my way of giving back.
Thank you so much. Stephanie Baker, running for City Council District 4. She's the incumbent, and what a very impressive presentation.
Thank you for your time.
What's the date, and when will the voting
It's Tuesday.
start that morning, and when
Yes.
will it close?
So Tuesday, August 25th, polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And
In
for
the First
District
Baptist
4,
Church.
you vote at First Baptist Church. And if you're not in District 4, you can call 311 at City Hall and talk with Shannon Bryan. She'd be happy to tell you your polling place. And today is the deadline to vote absentee to get that application. So again, call 311 and talk with Shannon Bryan, or whoever answers the phone. Just tell them you need information about voting absentee, and they'll be more than happy to help you.
Vote for Stephanie Baker, City Council District 4. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. You can watch this show again today at 1:30 right here on this dial. Again, Stephanie, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early today in LA.